on Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop Solution. I am Paula Gwynn, Chief Marketing Officer for CoreTech Services. I will be your host for this session. A few housekeeping items. Please note that all phones will be on mute. We will be opening the lines for questions at the end of the presentation, but please feel free to utilize the chat window if you would like to queue a question for the presenter. The presentation and presenting recording will be available after the session. Brian Barnes will present today's topic, IGEL in Windows Virtual Desktop. Brian is the Chief Technology Officer at CoreTech Services, an industry-leading and nationally recognized IT consulting firm. CoreTech's goal is to facilitate large enterprise clients and prospective customers to achieve and sustain predictable and effective IT results. Our mission, project success, no exceptions. As a CTO, Brian is responsible for working with customers, vendors, and account teams to design an accurate and flexible solution-based approach to our customers' unique business needs and technical requirements. This is made possible by utilizing the complete portfolio of CoreTech's cloud, product, and service offerings. The CoreTech Solutions architecture team, led by Brian, has engineered hundreds of hours of large and complex enterprise solutions deployed across the globe. Brian regularly speaks and presents on new and emerging technologies throughout the United States. With that, let's dive right into our topic, IGEL and Windows Virtual Desktop. Brian, I'll turn the session over to you.
Good morning, and thank you for attending today. Really excited to share this topic. It's a very buzzworthy topic that's getting a lot of attention across Microsoft, Citrix, and IGEL channels. So really excited to share this content with you today. One of the things that we really want to talk about is first introduce you who CoreTech is. We are an IGEL Platinum partner as well as a Citrix Platinum partner. We're also a Microsoft Azure Expert MSP partner specializing in cloud adoption for Microsoft Azure, as well as virtual desktop strategies, both on-prem and in the cloud for your hybrid overall approach. We blend a lot of our solution strategy and really focus on what end user success is by making an end user experience, whether on-premise or in the cloud, acceptable to our users so that we can proliferate the solutions that we design. We're actually outside of Detroit, Michigan, and work across the country for a lot of complex, large projects, some of the largest projects in the world when it comes to Microsoft Azure and Citrix. Real quick on being an Azure Expert MSP, we're recognized by Microsoft for our managed services that we provide for Azure consumption, as well as lift and shift strategies for overall management of Azure spend. We spend a lot of time and investment for our consultants as well as our solution architects to bring in the right solutions to address the very specific needs of the overall businesses that we engage with. So we're really excited to talk to you about this topic today. So really, when we talk about Windows Virtual Desktop and how IGEL plays a very key and important part is leveraging IGEL for a next generation OS by jumping into Microsoft Azure for a Windows Virtual Desktop. What you see here is we can have a lot of different use cases and blending those use cases across whether home-based users, road warriors, in the office or within hospitals, as well as an anywhere, any device strategy for your Windows Virtual Desktop. For us at CoreTech, IGEL is a key partner in this strategy because one of the things it does is it eliminates the complexity at the edge. One of the things that organizations struggle with is really trying to manage Windows 7, Windows 10 endpoints with a lot of different complex strategies and time-consuming and IT-based management of those OSs, right? So pushing application and updates, as well as migrating from one OS to another, is a very complex, long time task that we're all struggling with. So from an IGEL perspective, with both IGEL replacement as well as being able to have a platform that you can easily jump into your Windows Virtual Desktop is one thing that we're really going to focus in on today. So real quickly, what is Windows Virtual Desktop? It's an Azure only offering that really drives a new Windows 10 multi-session user experience. It's something that Citrix and VMware do within their broker technology. But Windows Virtual Desktop also brings a SaaS-based management plane and a SaaS-based brokering service to Microsoft Azure to access your Windows 10 or Windows server-based OS desktops and applications. It is a cloud-native solution hosted by Microsoft and is easily adopted for organizations through the Azure portal to drive in new desktop strategies for organizations. It also has a Office 365 Optimized Pro Plus experience, as well as being able to manage different applications that are business critical for your organization. One of the things organizations are really interested in is taking their on-premise environments delivered with RDS licenses today. And as you lift and shift those applications and desktops to Microsoft Azure, you can now attain that service with just leveraging your Windows Client OS license. So there is cost savings by eliminating the need for RDS and that Cal that you use on a per month, per user basis. So there's cost savings right out of the gate by eliminating your RDS Cals. Very easily deploy and scale in minutes, and we'll talk a little bit about more about Windows Virtual Desktop and how you can get a great application experience and compatibility by leveraging it. There's 3 key strategies why customers are looking to adopt Windows Virtual Desktop. You'll hear it referred to as WVD here on out. So replacing and migrating your on-premise virtual desktop deployments, modernizing the infrastructure, as well as migrating workloads to the cloud for operational cost savings, as well as reducing the management complexity and better security. New Windows virtualization, so a modern, more consistent Windows 10 user experience at a lower cost, and lower cost is both mix of hard cost savings and soft cost savings. So being able to leverage a Windows Virtual Desktop and being able to scale on an infinite ability in terms of what Azure provides, as well as the on-time access needs for Windows Virtual Desktop, so that you don't have larger capital procurement of hardware and data refresh in your data center to be able to produce those higher capacity workloads. Also, by managing Windows 7 and the support strategies with WVD, whether you're hosting applications on Windows 7 or 2008 R2 within Citrix environments, you can continue running that by lifting and shifting, excuse me, that Windows 7 environment into Microsoft Azure while modernizing your overall PC footprint for the desktop delivery side. There is some, like you spoke a little bit before about cost-effective compute and storage, right? So one of the things that we've been doing for years now on our on-premise virtualization strategies is we always buy with the maximum needs in mind, right? So whether your users are, using 20%, 40%, or 80% of the environment, we've got to size and buy that environment on-premise for peak usage. So one of the things that cloud allows us with Windows Virtual Desktop is really provide our resource usage of Microsoft Azure at the time the resource need is there. So we can save the overall capital cost procurement of that hardware by driving in an on-time need or as a pay-as-you-go need for that virtual resource. And also from a data refresh perspective on the data center side, there's a lot of benefit by managing your cloud consumption and leveraging things like scaling algorithms to be able to leverage what you need to use and what you need to spin up based upon your usage statistics, as well as driving a better economic benefit and a cost per month, right? So you can pre-buy Azure from a reserved instance side, as well as pay-as-you-go, and combine those 2 strategies for an overall cost savings somewhere between 30 and 40% of what you're doing from an on-premise perspective. I mentioned a little bit earlier about RDS Cal savings. One of the nice things that produces an instant economic benefit is you no longer have to license that RDS session with a user-based or device-based RDS Cal. So whether you own Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 or own virtualization rights for your client OS with Windows-based licensing, you can leverage that exact license without the added cost of RDS to access your applications and desktops in the cloud, specifically Windows Virtual Desktop on Azure. A quick economic scenario with some benefits. So as we kind of break off, what the on-premise cost is and drivers for savings, obviously if we can put multiple users on a single VM instance, imagine 6 to 12 users on a single IaaS instance running Windows 10 multi-session, there's an instant cost savings with that compute being able to be better managed within a multi-session approach. Also, you're also paying a Linux rate for that IaaS session cost. Because you already own the license for Windows 10 operating system, you can actually consume the Linux rates of Azure IaaS. You're also able to pay for just your actual usage. So if you have 1,000 users in your organization and multiple shifts, you don't have to spin up all of your instances to maintain that user base. You can scale up and scale down your Windows Virtual Desktop needs based upon time of day or shift change, however you manage your overall business. So paying for your actual usage is a key part of that, as well as the management services that are free from a WVD management plane perspective, managing and spinning that up through Azure Portal and leveraging PowerShell scripts to both automate that environment and bring the capability for overall advancement in DevOps strategies for your organization. Overall, there's a potential of 65% cost savings as we drive in a WVD cost and license savings for the overall workload. So what does that mean for IGEL? So being an IGEL partner and doing a lot of on-premise IGEL deployments, I wanted to walk into what is IGEL, who is IGEL, and how is it being leveraged from a CoreTech perspective for a not only an economic benefit, but a user experience benefit as well. Many companies and people view IGEL as a thin client strategy. I'm here to tell you it is not just a thin client, it is a next generation edge OS for all of your cloud workspace needs. The great thing about IGEL is they do offer hardware, but it truly is a software at heart company. Being able to leverage that software on any x86 platform, whether it's a PC, existing thin clients, or new thin clients that you're buying for your overall organization, it's a better way to manage your users and their devices. There's a large ecosystem of different partners and integrations for IGEL. Obviously, being able to support Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop, which is the first Linux-based OS to support a native WVD experience, as well as being able to broker Citrix and VMware technologies, accessing different analytics planes like Login VSI and Lakeside Systrack, and being able to also have different printing strategies supported with a company called Printer Logic. There's a lot of different ecosystems of partners that exist to create the best unified experience for your end users, but also in an IT administration simplicity that has never existed before. So really excited to be a part of that ecosystem, and have seen a lot of successful customers adopt IGEL for not only their on-premise needs, but for their remote users' needs as well. Everything that we kind of do from a CoreTech perspective and what we invest in from our partner strategies is everything's got to be at the center a security mindset. One of the things that IGEL has done is really create a chain of trust across how IGEL is leveraged for their secure boot signature, and they drive into the overall encryption of that WVD access, as well as their VDI access for their cloud environments through a secure chain of trust. So whether it's leveraging hardware for a dedicated security processor checks, or driving into other IGEL devices that the chain starts at the UEFI, you're being able to drive security directly from the Linux kernel all the way into the session to make sure that security is at the heart of what we do and how we access our virtual desktops. One thing I want to show you is the user experience on how a user accesses Windows Virtual Desktop from IGEL. So being able to have a desktop experience in launching into a Windows Virtual Desktop directly into the Microsoft native service, as well as leveraging multi-factor authentication with your existing Microsoft strategies in place today. Being able to launch that desktop anywhere in the world based upon where that resource sits from a global cloud service using Microsoft Azure, and being able to jump into your virtual desktop. Also being able to size that desktop and leverage that desktop across the IGEL workspace is key and critical. So you saw in that quick demo there that we launched the actual WVD client. Again, it's the first Linux-based device WVD access strategy that exists today. We're really proud of IGEL of accomplishing that goal and really providing an access capability that's never existed before outside of the Windows ecosystem to a Windows Azure virtual machine. I had mentioned IGEL does support different hardware models that they manufacture. They have a UD2, a UD3, as well as a universal desktop all the way up to larger devices for GPU offloading. The great thing is it comes with a 5-year warranty for all thin clients, as well as updates for 3 years after EOL. A lot of our IGEL customers have liked the benefit of having IGEL from a hardware platform. But one thing to remember is that being a software company, whether you buy IGEL hardware or procure your own hardware, IGEL is a software OS that's going to be leveraged in multiple different ways. One of those ways is in taking that IGEL OS and putting it on your existing fleet of thin clients. So if you have, multiple different types of HP, Lenovo, IBM, whatever endpoints you have, as long as it's x86 laptops and PCs, we can repurpose that device, remove Windows off of it, and give your users a seamless access into the virtual desktop in the cloud. Another unique strategy that our customers are leveraging is leveraging something called UD Pocket or UDP. UDP is a thin client on a USB memory stick. So users then take this quick USB drive, plug it into any device, and it securely pulls down that policy from the internet, secures that session, and those policies are then set up to access their user desktop from any PC, any device that they're at. It's a bootable device that usually takes a couple quick tweaks from a BIOS perspective to make that device boot to a USB. And then once you have that, all of that policy is updated from the internet, managed centrally from a universal management suite from an IGEL perspective, and is a great way to gain access, secure access to your users from anywhere that they sit. We talked a little bit about being the first Linux-based OS to support WVD. Since 2005, we've seen the Linux adoption rates and shipments grow from 6% from 2015 to 2018, while the endpoint Windows devices have shrunk on that same rate, 5% for shrinking Windows OSs. And the one thing to remember here is that as different users buy their own devices, whether it's iPads, whether it's Galaxy tablets, whether you're using different types of laptops that contain Windows, or moving into even more of a Linux OS, we're seeing for the first time that shift happen. And one of the things that's great to see is that with that adoption of Linux, you see some of those threat surfaces minimized as well. A lot of vulnerabilities that come out and exist are usually targeted against the larger deployed OS types like Windows. So having Linux as a secure shell and being able to launch into specific application sets like the WVD client is a huge benefit. And for the first time since 2018, Linux surpassed Windows in shipments of thin clients. So really excited to see that. You've heard me talk a little bit about the Universal Management Suite, or what we refer to as UMS. It's a free central management pane of glass for your IT administration to set policy against all of your IGEL devices, as well as all of your next generation Edge OS that sits across your ecosystem. So one of the things that you do is group policies together based upon the device types, whether you have multiple groups of users using UDP or UD Pocket, being able to set that through a secure internet cloud gateway, or you're managing on-premise deployments across existing legacy PC fleets with your IGEL replacement OS called UDC. You have a central place to manage that, as well as in different mergers and acquisition strategies, being able to manage new fleets of PCs very easily by adding them into policy groups. Very easy management. It manages every layer, every aspect of the OS, as well as being able to adopt new application access strategies through a central management plane. There is also high availability options that we can spread that management plane out in terms of multiple data center approaches, as well as putting UMS in Microsoft Azure to be able to leverage it as a cloud application as well. Talking a little bit about the software side of things. So UMS Extensions, we talked a little bit about Cloud Gateway for remote management. Not only can you leverage these UD pockets that are out there, but also being able to deliver IGEL to home-based users. So we can manage those devices sitting within the home, just directly accessing those devices from the internet, and manage them like they were on our own LAN. So whether we're pushing policies or giving them new user experiences, we can do that through Cloud Gateway, as well as the 90+ partners that exist across that ecosystem. So being able to push policy around printer logic or new analytics that we need from Lakeside Software. It's important to remember that IGEL has a great plethora of partnerships across different management as well as analytics planes to be able to give you what you need from an IT perspective. I mentioned that there's a lot of different hardware vendors that are supported with IGEL. Pretty much anything with an x86 processor, we pretty much prove that it's going to function and function well. There is over a lot of discussion around the different HA disaster recovery methods that are in place today, as well as spreading that management plane out for a data center outage or with not relying on a single Azure region to run your UMS management plane. So Workspace Edition software side, different deployment options and hardware support options there to support your needs. One thing we'll kind of end is we have a CoreTech offer that we'd love to talk to you more in depth about. Coming on site or remote to schedule a Windows Virtual Desktop and IGEL demo. CoreTech with their solution architects can help you understand not only the cost benefit of Microsoft Azure Windows Virtual Desktop, but also how to leverage IGEL and demo that within your own environment. We can also line up IGEL trial licenses for UDP, UDC, as well as UMS. During that process, we can work with you to understand what some of our return on investment and total cost of ownership analysis is for Microsoft Azure and Windows Virtual Desktop. And if you're coming up against a PC refresh cycle, now is a great time to understand that ROI because there's enormous cost savings by leveraging that with an IGEL OS. Doing a value analysis of Microsoft Azure cloud solution partners, as well as looking at reserved instances, pre-buying Azure in 1 and 3 year stints to save costs for the long haul. So we'd love to talk to you more about that. And to schedule a demo, please reach out to CoreTech and through CoreTech.com. We're excited to get engaged with you. I'll turn it back over to Paula.
Great, thank you, Brian. Really appreciate your insight into the topic and how IGEL and Windows Virtual Desktop can provide real value to any organization. I do have a couple questions that came in through the chat window, and if anyone else has additional ones, please feel free to input those as we touch base on these. The first one touches on your last slide there. I'm struggling with my end of EOS plan for Windows 7 and SQL Server. Is this a solution for me?
Absolutely. So whether you're looking at EOL for Windows 7 or some of the 2008 server-based OSs and SQL versions, Microsoft Azure is a free way to bring that workload in and to maintain that support for that workload. Even though that support has expired on-premise, Microsoft is offering extended support if that workload resides in Azure. So lifting and shifting that Windows 7 desktop as well as your 2008 OS strategies, including SQL, is a way to get free support for your Microsoft technology stack.
Great, thank you, Brian. The next question was, are there tools for determining my cost savings for using this type of solution, specifically around cost savings for managing this solution, reduction in things like smart hands?
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great question. So one of the things that we work really aggressive on is to build specific cost analysis tools and understand how those lift and shift ramps happen for Microsoft Azure, as well as adopting a virtual desktop strategy. There's CoreTech IP that we've developed to help customers understand what that cost is. But more importantly, is we offer a free tool called Azure Management Suite that manages the operational cost of Azure and gives very key analytics and cost analysis of what new workloads would look like to increase your consumption costs. We give that for all of our CSP customers. Microsoft CSP stands for Cloud Solution Provider. And if you bring your Azure workload into CSP, we can give you an automatic discount as well as free access to the IP and tools that we've delivered for cost savings and analysis.
Great, thank you. You mentioned capital pay-as-you-go. Are there limitations on bursting and scaling, and how fast can I do it?
You can scale as much and as fast as you possibly can with expectations of how much you can do based upon the Azure design. So one of the things that we like to do for new Azure customers is help them understand what a solid Azure design starts and works from. We offer a Microsoft Azure Cloud Foundations. If you're not in Azure today, I'd highly recommend engaging CoreTech on that Cloud Foundations approach so that you can set up yourself with a good design. And within that good design, we can truly offer infinite scale as fast as you want to scale.
Wonderful. Excuse me. One additional question I have in the window here. UMS. Universal Management System. Does that integrate into an asset management inventory system for my ITSM suite, like a ServiceNow?
You can pull data out of UMS and leverage UMS in multiple different ways. One of the things that you can do is tap into other management planes for certain asset tracking, but you can also leverage a product from IGEL to include that asset tracking as part of your overall strategy.
Thank you. And thank you, Brian. I really appreciate you sharing with us about IGEL and Windows Virtual Desktop. Great topic. Thank you, audience, for your attention today. I hope you found the information informative. Please mark your calendars for the next webinar session, which is Wednesday, March 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be talking about Lakeside, WVD use case assessment and mapping. We look forward to seeing everybody there. Please feel free to go to coretech.com/events for more details around that event and other upcoming events. You will also receive an email with the recording and a link to the presentation for further information. And please feel free to reach back to CoreTech if you'd like to take advantage of any of those offers that Brian shared with you at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.